Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. A little technical difficulty this morning. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's get the dollar index up. We'll get there. Where is the dollar index this morning? We'll find it in a few seconds here. Right there. And here is the dollar index. Still generating red dots, but you can see here with the algorithm, I'll just show it to you right there. You can see the algorithm is pushed underneath and trying to push into that cell. At the same time, the weeklies are all holding up. So what we're really seeing in the end result is that the market is telling us that the pressure is still on the upside. And it doesn't seem to want to stop, that's for sure. We can see this morning the stock indices are feeling some pressure. They're pushing them down. The news, I guess you could say, more than anything else. I heard something this morning which really made me, I was happy to hear in a sense because I've been saying it over and over. They said, why is the stock market selling down? Excuse me there. And really, the opinion is that Mr. Powell is really confusing the market. For a guy that screamed 12 months ago, I'm going to lower rates 7 times. He has lowered rates twice now, a half and a quarter point, and he comes out last Thursday or Friday, I guess it is, and he says, I don't know I can lower any more rates. So we're really rudderless at this point. We feel very lost. Markets are like, wait a minute, where is your head? What are you thinking? A sip of water there. It seems to be very confused. We seem to be looking at a situation now where the markets are becoming extremely confused. Extremely confused. And when that happens, money usually goes and tries to find a place to hide, and that is the nature of it all. And it just doesn't, in other words, it doesn't stop. It that's what it does. It tries to find a way to go hide. And that's what it's doing now. You can see them slowly, a couple 100 points here, a couple 100 points there. They're still holding up. Let's go to what we could do is let's go over to the previous, let's see, where's it at? Let's go here and take a look at the S&P 500. Let's see, right there. And you can see we're well above the election. Okay, no problem there. We're well above the election, the 11.5. But we are starting to challenge it. Let's put it up on the screen here. Right there. There's the election day. They bring it up to here. You can see it stalling out. Now it's at the top end of this range. And I was so happy to hear somebody in the mainstream media say something like that. It was like, wow, we're finally hearing some intelligence. Sometimes it's very confusing when you have a media that literally tells you things that are just not true. And the best thing, how do you measure truth? I mean, really, how do you measure truth? And the best way to measure truth really is to look at past history. So what you do is you look at the past history, statements made here and there, predictions made, and you look at the predictions and then you start to see that they've been wrong. Their level of accuracy is, 20, 30%. If that much. Sometimes, remember, the national media in the United States, its objective is to have one-party rule. I don't think I've ever really said that out loud. That's what their objective is, to have one party rule. They have they're like, that's why they get along with the communists, I guess, so well. You can see this morning, was it 45 democracy advocates in Hong Kong have been arrested. I'm sorry, they've been sentenced. It's even worse. It was in the Financial Times. Let's see if we can find that. Let's see if we can find that. It's really sad. Right there. What do we got here? Inbox. Yeah, right there. I'm just going to move it over to. Let's see if we can get that article up there. This is the Financial Times. And this is where their heads are at. Where's it at? I just clicked on it. It's not showing it. It's showing me everything else. Let's see. Let me just do it one more time. Let's see. How do I get to it? Let me just show it to you off of. So when I click on this, it brings me to the front page, but it's not showing me the story. I just want to put that story up there. Europe, EU, Hong Kong, Chinese tech group. The Financial Times has become such an inefficient product. Oh, man. I can just show you my email. Like that, right there. No, not that. Let's just do it this way. There it is. Hong Kong sentences 45 democracy activists up to 10 years in prison. Right there. Okay. Just wanted to show it to you. It's part of the Financial Times. There it is right there again. Let's see if we can scroll that up. And we'll just put it over there. And so when you hear financial news, there it is right there. Breaking news, Hong Kong sentences 45 democracy. Court sentenced 45, landmark security case. In other words, in the end result is we're having the same thing here in the United States. We have the same type of crazy going on. And it's very weird. There's no other way to describe it, but very weird. We're not geared towards... We're geared towards freedom of speech. In other words, the system doesn't run right here in the United States without freedom of speech. And so when you have, let's see, which one's it? Okay, right there. Let's get rid of that. Go like that. And let me see what's shooting over there. Is that there? Is it this one? Let's see what... I'm trying to find where we are. Okay. Yeah, so we're not geared towards a lack of democracy. We just don't know how to deal with that. It's just not natural to us. And the Democrats are hungry for that all the time, which is very strange. It's very, very strange. And so because of that, and you see this morning, there's about, 6 or 7 governors that come out and said some of the most outrageous things. It's just total misinformation. Governors of states like New York State, Illinois, New Jersey, they've come out and made statements that make no sense, challenging Mr. Trump's presidency already. And then you see this headline coming out of China, or out of Hong Kong in particular, where they're locking up democratic people. What's wrong with democracy? That's so totalitarian and so confusing. And it makes this like I said, our society doesn't function. It doesn't function without a democracy. In other words, free speech, open ideas, communicating them. And so our media, which is also all one-sided, turns into a fiasco also. In other words, it hurts us. This is not the way America is supposed to work. And you can see, their comfort level with the communists. And, we just keep on trying to, get it across to them that, this is not America. So, anyhow, what we have going on from there, we'll jump over to back to the dollar index. I guess we could do is just jump right to the currencies, take a peek at them, see what they're doing. And here it comes. We'll take a look at the euro. I saw the euro get into the daily buy yesterday. It was pretty cool. It's establishing the connection now. Right there. Yeah, it jumped into the buy yesterday. Let's grab one of these greens and just move it over like that. Showing a little weakness this morning. Probably, let's take a look at the bond too. Where is the bond? Oh, let's do this. It's on here. There it is. And there is the bond. You see the bond now, a little pop in price. So there it is right there. As we lift in price, interest rates drop. So that's why you're seeing, with the interest rates dropping a little bit here in the States, you're seeing the, the currencies, the currency pairs, gaining against the dollar again. Is that right? Yep, that's right. That's the bonds. I got two different weeklies going on. I've been playing around with a 4-6, just because of the volatility. And so there it is right there. The bonds are trying to just make a little move up right there these last 2 days. And with those last 2 days, that automatically starts to put pressure on the dollar. And we can shift back to the dollar index. But better yet, let's just look at it in the individual. Not there, right there. So there's the euro. Let's take a look at the cable. And there is cable. The cable, wow. Is there much more that can be said? Labor takes over. Where is it? Labor took over. Summer's around in here. Where did labor take over? I guess it was like right around in here. They tried to lift it up. I guess it's in here. When was elections in England? Let's take a look and see if we can find out exactly. Labour elected election in England. To 24. Let's see. Election, Labour election in England, 224. When was that? It was in July, I guess it was. So it was in July. So we're looking at. Let's move it over. So the election came right around in here. Oh, let's not move that. So election came in right in here. Let's do this. Let's get rid of these Fibonacci lines. We've been watching them for years and there's not much of a need for it. There's another one right there. Alright, so let's see. General election 2024. September 4th results analysis. Okay, so it was September 24th. Let's see. Full results analysis of the 4th 2000 general election where Labour won a majority in the parliament. July 11th. Okay. Now, what's September 24th? It is amazing how hard it is to find things. 2024, the United Kingdom general election was held on Thursday the 4th. All right. So, right here, let's put a little line in there. So, the election was held right here. And let's put a line in there like that. And make that yellow so we can identify it even better. And you can see they tried to rally it a few times. Okay, so now what we are is we are lower now than during the election. But they did take it up for a while because they were, like all the currencies were moving up because they thought for sure, especially with the half a point move, they were expecting lower interest rates in the United States. We were looking at all this. And when they saw that starting to happen, you could see that they tried to, take it up more like every other currency. I mean, you look at the euro. There's the euro right there. Let's just shrink it down to the election time again, like so. It was doing the same exact thing. They were rallying against the dollar. And we saw it in the Swiss. Same situation. Move it over a little bit like that. Remember, when the Swiss goes down, it's gaining against the dollar. So you can see now we go back to England. And look at the great GBP. And so you see here, that's where election was. Matter of fact, when we go like that too, we'll write that in there. Election. Let's make it yellow. There we are. And so you can see there the election happened here. The results were all come in. It comes down and challenges that area right here about 3 weeks later. Then we have the big interest rate cut coming on in the United States. Everybody's excited. They finally do it right around in here, and it becomes a top. And now what we've done is we can get rid of that. Now you can see we're below where the election came in. So they're obviously not that happy about the election, that's for sure. There you go. All right. So you can see here, cable, kind of moving down more, having a little problem getting into that buy. It's still in the sell. Where's the euro in the weekly? Let's take a look at the euro in the weekly. There we are. And you can see right there, it's still moving down, but we're getting a little bump on the upside this week starting off, but still it's way below. It is right around the manifold on the negative side though. Now cable, same situation, trying to bump up a little bit. You can see it's a little stalled out. It's not, not totally, what's the best way to describe that? Not totally falling apart, but it's not bouncing back up yet. And I'd imagine as many as a lot of people like to dodge it. Government policies are the things that can have enormous influence on marketplace. I mean, that's what the problem is. Yeah, I mean, really. taxes, inflation. Here we have a non-government. We have a semi-government, quasi-government agency, the Federal Reserve itself, our central bank, being totally confused, not able to set a direction, acting like one moment it's okay, another moment it's not okay. It keeps on volleying back and forth. Very confusing situation. And that's why we're seeing the pressure in the stock market. We're seeing the bond market basically tell the Federal Reserve, you're wrong, stop what you're doing. I mean, talk about the Herculean effort that is. Okay. Let's go back over to the Swiss again. Mm. You can see here, Swiss is trying to roll over like the way the euro is, so it's gaining against the dollar. What is that? That is a minus yesterday, so it did make it into the minus. And you see just a teeny weeny little down today, nothing major, and we've traded into the center of this channel. And at this point, you have to wonder, how well will the Swiss do? Is it going to hover in this range? Is it going to drift around in between those two dark blue lines? In other words, where this box is it going to play with that range? I know at best go down, hit it, and pop back up inside here, kind of cruising. I would say yes until we see this thing go into a weekly sell. All right. From there, we'll shoot over to the yen. You see the yen's doing the same thing. It's trying to move down the last couple of days. You see that pressure on it. Let's take a look where Nikkei went out last night. And the Nikkei went out. It's been in a downdraft for a couple of days. I saw a headline this morning saying they were looking for they were doing buybacks in Tokyo, and that puts pressure on the markets on the positive side. It's their central bank basically stepping up and buying, and so we're taking a look at that, and you can see here. Let's show it to you. There you are, and you can see right here. Oh, you know what? That's yesterday's, isn't it? What date is that? I think that's the 18th. Yeah, we need to put the 19th up. Let's see what we can do here about doing that. There we go. Let's get the 9th up there. And while we're loading the 19th on the spreadsheet, you can see, let's make it a little bit bigger. You can see there's a little pop going on with the Nikkei last night, lifting up. That's because they were doing the buybacks. And you can see the weekly, still in a weekly buy right there for 3 weeks. And you can see here, it's been in a daily sell, and it's been slowly drifting down. Didn't get into, it's not showing us what the algorithm did yet, because it's going to wait till the end of the day to do that, I guess. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on how it's set up at the exchange itself. So let's get the well, I'm doing that. There's the email. Let's see. And here is today's spreadsheet. There we go. And you can see there on the currencies, that is, in particular. Yeah, right there. So both of these are pushing into it. And we did see, I thought this, I thought that got into a buy. Oh, I see. Yes, the sell's a buy. That's what it is over there. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. What do we have up on the screen? And now you can see the Nikkei there. A little pop. Nothing major. And we've been in a weekly buy, so you would expect to see more strength. We're just, it's the short term right here. You can see that right there. It's been telling us that there just isn't enough day-to-day buying going on yet. Just on a broader thing. In other words, they're obviously thinking, Trump's taken over, the economy's going to start to lift, we'll get more business, that type of thing. I would think that would be part of the action we're seeing. All right, then from there, go over to the great experiment. Let's widen that out. Imagine that. Where are we at now? This is 4. And this is 4. So last time we saw a 9-week move on the sell side was 3.5 years ago. Interesting. The product at the time was trading in the 8s and 9s, not the 36s and 37s. You can see it's trying on a daily basis right here. You can see it's just been in a sell from there. Got a little volatility signal. Next day they slammed it. A little bit more volatility signal a few days later. They took it down over a 4-day period. And now we're starting to get that volatility signal going from here to there. You see that same situation. So, all right. What else we got brewing? Let's go to South Africa. I guess that's the best way to look at it. A little pop up. Let's see where we're putting gold this morning from it. Oh, not there. Let's see. There it is right there, gold. Gold's holding its strength for a second day pretty well. Looking a lot better than the South African Rand, but the South African Rand is pressing down. Oh, they got that's another thing too. We got the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, now is going to be Secretary of Transportation. He was a congressman and he's been on Fox Business. So it's funny, we've gotten 2 people out of Fox. That is actually now going to be running major departments inside the government. That's really wild. Now, our Secretary of Defense is going to be a Fox person. All right. Let's take a look and see what silver looks like. And there's silver. Boy, they've got 5 people that they're looking at for when it comes to Secretary of Treasury. Oh, wait a minute. And a senator. 4 business people and a senator. Wow. All right. There's December silver. You see the same thing. Closed in the daily buy yesterday. But still in that weekly sell. And when we go and look at gold again, and a weekly sell also. And then we'll shift over to copper. Copper did find a way. Yesterday it was a green and a red dot, but by this morning it was cleaned up and it gave us a buy signal. All right, and then you can see that strength going in like that, but at the same time we're still in a weekly sell just like the other 2 metals. Check out Platinum. Second day in a daily buy, and also 4 weeks in a sell. So, silver's 3 weeks in a sell. Copper is 4 weeks in a sell, and platinum is 4 weeks in a sell. And then, we go and we take a look at gold. Just a second week in a sell. And on the beta, it's 3 weeks in a sell. All right. From there, where do we go from there? Let's go over to the energy sector. Put up Brent ZB. Is that it right there? Where's BZ? That's what it is. It's BZ. Right there. I thought yesterday we were working on the daily. It was pushing into the daily buy, I thought, but I guess not. But I'm sorry, the weekly buy, but it's not. It's still. You can see the fastest trying to get through. Let's just make it bigger for you like that. You can see it's getting up close. This has made it through, but this has not. It's through the manifold. So there's definitely some buying going on in the crude. That's Brent. But you can see here we're a second day in a daily buy right there. Yeah, right there. And let's see, where do we go from there? We go over to West Texas. Let's see what West Texas looks like. Sweet crude from Texas. Right there. Second day in a buy. You can see both of them very on the... Oh, actually, it's below. And I imagine Brent might be the same way. We'll go back to Brent and see it. But you can see it's putting a little pressure there. But it's a second day in a buy itself, because you can see here these two right there. Kind of buying. But then you can't take the trade because we're in weekly sells. So that's the safety of this system. It keeps you out of trouble. I mentioned it yesterday. Remember, there's 3 positions. Longs, shorts, and neutral. And this is a point where you get into a neutral stop. Now, if you're a producer, you can move out of that spot, and you can use this as a hedge on a short-term basis here and longer-term basis here. You can move your inventory around correctly to it. From there, I just want to take a look at the Brent. I bet Brent is down also. I didn't look at it that close. Right there. Yeah, it's doing the same thing, just a little bit down for the day. It was a nice move we had there. I don't know. It could have been like, Joe Biden. Biden is doing some weird things. They didn't put him in the picture in the center for the leading nation. They stuck him up in the top right corner. And then the G20 is meeting up in Brazil. And Joe was behind a tree, or a palm tree. Do they have palm trees in Brazil? So, it was weird. Joe kind of like, they were taking the picture, the group picture of all the leaders. So in Peru 2 days ago, he was in one spot, and yesterday or this morning in Brazil, He didn't even show up in the picture. He was behind a tree. I don't get it. And you got to wonder how, this announcement that he's going to give long-range missiles to Ukraine so that they can fire them into Russia is even crazier. I don't know. I mean, it's time to remove the guy. The guy is really starting to lose it. I mean, really, really lose it mentally. I mean, he's already been off the rails. But now, I mean, I remember the Prime Minister of Italy, when the G7 got together, I guess it was like 7 months ago, something like that. They had to reel him in. He was turned around and looking at something else, and they were all doing a joint message, and answering questions. And he was like paying attention to some other thing going on. And she walked over to him and she grabbed him, softly put her hand on his elbow. And he turned and looked, and then he slowly walked back to with all the other ministers. So yesterday, you have that big oil spike, and the bigger question is it because of the crazy missile things he's doing? Is that freaking people out? I mean, I'd imagine that could be something like that. It's, basically we're really in uncharted territory. Let's put it that way. Uncharted territory. All right. So there is the two oils. Let's take a look at natural gas. Let's see, natural gas. There's natural gas. You can see it's doing the same thing, moving down a little bit today, but the algorithm is trying to get into the buy, but with the red dots, it's not helping. But the weekly is lifting up. You can see that there in natural gas. Then we take a look at the heating oil, a refined product, as they would call it. Is that it right there? Right there. And there's the heating oil. We'll have to change that. That's December. We'll move over to the January contract. That's moving down a little bit, but it seemed like yesterday they started to reach for a lot of this stuff. Now, I think yesterday we saw heating oil try to be in the weekly buy, tried to climb into it. But today you can see there it's still in the minus. And then we shift over to where's it at? The energy company down in Spain, ENGMC, right there. This has been in a weekly sell now for like 6-7 weeks. You can see the daily is pushing back into the sell today. It's underneath at the moment. Let's refresh that. And at the same time, what else can we say about this more than the fact that we're looking at this pressing down at the same time. The weekly's been in a weekly sell, and we see natural gas trying to lift. This usually follows natural gas, and you can see the strength in that. And then we can go back to natural gas real quick. I saw a German minister come out and say that they expected bringing in big imports into Europe, with Mr. Trump being in office in January. And again, there is nat gas, and you can see it's been lifting for the last couple of days, but it's having a hard time getting into the buy on a daily basis. But definitely on the weekly, it's showing some life there. All right. From there, I guess we'll go take a look at some of the world action, see what's going on with the stock indices. We saw, Tokyo starting to try to lift up a little bit. Not the best action. Let's take a look at Shanghai. There's serious talk of delisting the Chinese companies off of the exchanges here and make them go over the counter because they don't follow our. You know how it's hard for people in the United States to trade German stocks because of the accounting procedures are different than the Securities Exchange Commission accepts. Well, the Chinese stocks don't follow any accounting. And so how they ever got listed under Mr. Biden, I don't understand. And under Mr. Obama, they got listed. And Mr. Trump tried to restrain them, and the Congress and the Democrats in particular slowed them down on that. But would not surprise me if we saw a delisting of Chinese stocks. That would not surprise me any. Now, here is up on the beta. You can see that is the Shanghai, and it's been in a sell now, like for a bunch of days. What is that? 2, 4. This is 6th day, but you can see just like Hong Kong on the weekly. You can see it's in a weekly buy for 4 weeks, and it's really done a poor job with it. It's tried. You go back 4 weeks. And you can see we were lifting. We were trying to lift. There was the sugar high being suggested that they were going to put out. I was making the classic joke as usual about communists, about they do things in 3-year plans or 5-year plans or 10-year plans, and sure enough, the Chinese government came out about a week later saying, "Oh yes, we have a 5-year plan for stimulus now." And they're putting in a 1.4 more trillion yuan, and we all know here, I've said it over and over, they need to put in 25 to 30 trillion yuan, not 2.5 trillion yuan, and that's where they're at the moment. They're doing that, which makes it makes the statement that they're trying to re-stimulate their economy. When they won't put even half the money that needs to be put in, makes it even crazier and confusing. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? It's like they need to put 25 to 30 trillion yuan in to stimulate their economy at this point. And they are only going to put in under 3 over a 3-year period or 5-year period, which is even crazier. So in other words, it's not really going to go anywhere. And I guess they're going to prop up some real estate with it, or maybe some stocks, some companies. Who knows? No idea. It's become a real guessing game there. What else is there? I would say more than anything else, we're talking a lack of growth. And as I mentioned yesterday, there's a strong feeling that the economy in China is only functioning at say 1.5%, not 5.5 or 6% that they talk about. And so there's someone there again now. Another person, T.D. Cowan, China hawks in Trump's cabinet could cause delisting of Chinese stocks on U.S. exchanges. That's coming across some of the financial tapes here in the States. All right. And so then from there, let's take a look at, when it comes to international, let's take a look at Taiwan. We'll go to Taiwan and then go over to South Korea. There's Taiwan. I saw they signed a military intelligence pact with Manila, with the Philippines. So I'd imagine that makes China feel a little bit more trapped, I guess, in some level or another. I don't know what they're expecting. I really don't. I don't understand why they thought they could, I don't know, disrespect U.S. laws. I guess the Democrats in the United States here who are hungry for one-party rule, have that same demented, thing. And I guess, Mr. Biden has taken in millions. We've seen it. The government, we have it documented now. They're just not sure what to do with it. I mean, he's the sitting president, and his family has taken in over $52 million in cash from Chinese entities and Ukrainian entities, Romanian entities. Who else was it? Russian companies, like the mayor of Russia, Moscow, things like that. We're seeing this money flow, and we're not really clear where their heads are at about this whole thing. Why was he taking money in? I mean, he doesn't have a product that he's selling more than just influence. So we really have a compromised government. And then when you find him standing behind a palm tree at the G7 yesterday or this morning, you really start to wonder. I mean, who is running this guy? The crazy story in the United States right now is a lot of people think he voted for Trump. His wife went to the election to vote, and she was wearing a red dress, which is very strange. In other words, she was supposed to be wearing a blue dress. She's wearing a red dress. I mean, you're talking about the First Lady of the United States. So there is no such thing as, okay, we can't find you a blue dress. That's the strange part out of it all. There's Taiwan. You see it's popping up a little bit today. You can see at the same time the algorithm went into the buy also. It's pushing through. And you can see the weekly's also pushing through right there. In all these spots. We're seeing it in every one of them. Let's see, right there. Can you see that on the screen? I think so, yeah. Right there. So it's popping into the weekly buy also. There we go. All right. What else is there? Let's see. See that? Move that news story out of the way. And so that was the. I guess you could say we're in a very strange spot. So that's basically the story when it comes to China, and then Taiwan showing some strength, and then China trying to lift up. And not doing very well at it since they're not stimulating the economy the way everybody knows they should. And there has been suggestions, I've been hearing suggestions by a couple of people that's relatively trustworthy, that they have to devalue their currency, which I've been saying over and over again. It needs to go to like 13 or 14 or 15, something like that. I mean, you can't have... the ruble trading at 100, and then at the same time, you can't have what's the other one? The Turkish lira trading at 37, and no action at all from the Chinese yuan. They've got to put it back into the bottle, I guess you could say. In other words, they need to get that thing functioning right. And so far, I'm not too confident about that, especially with that stimulus package. It's going to be, how hard is that going to be about them devaluing their converter? It's not even a currency. It's a converter of the currency. So that's where we stand this morning, traders. All right. What can we say about the title of it today? That's a bigger question. We'll have to come up with a new title today. We'll work on that. I haven't had a chance to think about it, but we are, definitely in times where it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Here, let me just take a look at DAX before we run off. I've been a little surprised that we're not seeing some strength in the European currencies, but then we've been selling in the United States, but they seem to have jumped in before us even. Now here's DAX. And, it chopped around, sold down for a few days when we were running mad and strong. Remember, we had this massive move from right here on the election day. As a matter of fact, the day after the election, they took the DAX down. I'll just show it to you on a bigger screen. So there's the where's the election? The election was right there. That's the 11th, right there. There you go. So that's the election. By the end of the next day, they sold it down, whereas we were, just rampaging. Let me just show it to you. Let's see, we can do it this way instead. Let's just put you on the other screen instead. This way we can bounce back and forth by just a click, which would make it a lot easier. There's the S&P 500. Okay. So, there we go. So we see here, that's the election. Whereas we rally up and some massive moves. That's a 200-point move. And then we go back over to the DAX. And the DAX basically has, what's it do? It drops. Well, there's the close of 19,256, and it closes at 19,039. So it drops 200 points. I thought that was curious. We didn't talk about it. We didn't, explore the concept. But that's what we saw. Is Europe basically? I guess they're looking at like a Trump success is a failure for Europe. I would think it's the other way around. I would think that a growing, the classic expression, and this could be the title today too, and that is that when the United States sneezes, like having a cold or a flu, the world catches the flu or the cold. Okay, when America sneezes, the world catches the cold. Also, at the same time, we've always expressed it in another way, is that the world is like a train. Each country is like a train car. But America is the engine, pulling the train car. We're pushing the train car, either way. And, it's not... you would think that the currency, the stock markets across Europe in particular would have been firmer, from this success. But it tried, I guess a day later, it jumped up again on the 7th, fell down again, looking like China in many ways with the copper. And, it's been down or around, in other words, it didn't really get that new all-time high look. Let's take a look at the FTSE. We got a few more seconds here. And there's the FTSE. The FTSE did the same thing on the 4th. Where's it? There's the election. At least it closed unchanged for a day or two, then slowly drifted. Let's see how Paris looks. We'll take a look at the European stocks in particular. This could be something we could look at tomorrow too at the same time, besides looking at it today. But let me just see, since we have Paris right there. There's the CAC 40. And there is the election right there, doing the same thing as the DAX. I think what we'll do tomorrow is we'll take a peek at some of the, how they all acted and how we're acting now. In other words, the United States is slowly selling down now, but we're still above our numbers. So. All right, traders, this is Doc from North America. We will catch you tomorrow, same time, same channel. It'll be Happy to Hump Day Wednesday. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading day. Ta-ta for now.